So can females and men be friends? Or what?
You don't want to introduce this topic.
So there's studies.
I've since learned to know, right? But I used to think they could be. And the reason why I thought men and women could be friends is because I saw it from a female perspective.
Okay,
I never understood it from a male perspective,
okay.
right? From a female perspective, it is possible to look at a man and have absolutely no sexual intentions towards him at all.
Okay.
It really is a possibility. It's a possibility, Wuti. Just because I see that a man is interested in me doesn't mean that I'm interested in him. I have a nurturing spirit as a woman, right? And as a friend, I want to nurture, I want to be cool, I want to be like, are you okay? How's it going? So from that perspective, most women will think it's possible for men and women to be friends because women can see men as friends.
They can.
Women can see men as friends.
Okay.
Right?
So was ubonile uthi.
That's it. And maybe this is where you guys can help me. Are men able to see women and want to spend time and energy with women that they're not interested in having some sort of dalliance with?
I'll say, yeah, probably with men who have maybe...
Not gay men.
Gay men or people abane excess isikhathi esiningi to waste. Bepisana nge-attention and time. Time is a valuable commodity.
For men,
for men, yes. And resources. Ube busy manje with female ngeke uthole anything ukuthi angazi ukuthi ngaxoxani now for a very long time because ama interest usually ama males and ama females nje ukushilo ukuthi nurturing mina ngifuna sikhahlelana iboxing shayane lana sibizana ngamagama, no emotions involved. Guys can do that, but bengikhuluma nawe fanele ngiyigade ukuthi energy I'm eating. Remember we had a discussion before this.
Yes.
Kwaba khona ngasho something and then wafeel some type of way.
Yes.
Yabona laba bakwazi accommodator la roller coaster lawo. It's another breed of guys. It's the breed of guys engicabanga ukuthi ilawo ezizama ukwasiza ukuthi bephume kule programming yama females, the feminized programming. Ubonga nomuntomazana for what?
For the nurturing, for the enjoyment of company.
Okay. Yeah, enjoyment of company ngalidili kuyinto esithandayo both of us.
Why can't I just enjoy company just to enjoy somebody's company?
It's nje, so enjoy company, sibukele movie lana, ungivashele,
yes.
Bayakhisana,
and I'm like, oh, isn't that a beautiful kiss?
Wow! I say bonding dynamic ikanjani, but bakhona, let me don't say abekho, bakhona.
But it's a rare thing.
It's a rare thing. I just usually ngama rare things, but most of the time the guys who are there abazoba ngani bakho bekusondeza nana, most of the time khona intention ekhona abayigadile abayilindile, if especially bonomuntu ngoba the very same guy lo omngani wakho bongafike ebomngani wakho uhlekisana nomuntu othize uhlukane nalowo muntu bese uzokhala kuyena futhi usisegebhini bese usually bongafike uthola umunye umuntu ungathathi yena o yena mhlambe esabe ukushintsha itopic esabe noma yisho itopic wena friend zone kodwa expectation yakho ukuthi at least bese kuvula igap mhlambe uzomconsideration bese ujoin nomunye umuntu, the same guy uyena udinwa kuqala.
Right.
Most of the time.
So okay, unfortunately, Tammy, this is going to be a very short one because I've been taught this lesson and I've had to accept it.
Okay.
Right. I had to accept Suguti, whether I like it or not, whether I believe it or not, the possibility that some guy who says they just want to be my friend is probably not just wanting to be my friend in the way that I, as a female, understand friendship.
Okay.
Right. And what for me was the important lesson about that, it wasn't just about Suguti, the guy has some sort of intention. It was my responsibility in my relationship. Is to say, if my person has said to me, Uguti, this is the situation. It's not a jealousy, because I was like, why are you jealous? I'm with you, I want to be with you, I love you, there's no other person that I'm interested in.
There's nothing wrong with jealousy.
Wait. I didn't say there was anything wrong with jealousy, but I wanted to know, why would you be jealous? You're the person I want, not this person. That sounds so wrong. Not this person. You have no reason to be insecure. And he said to me, this is not about jealousy, this is not about insecurity, it's about respect. Right? I had, maybe to give you a little bit of a background, there was a friend I hadn't seen from varsity in a long time. We were friends at varsity, so I said, oh, okay, let's meet up. We were supposed to have a lunch date with this male friend of mine. It ended up becoming a lunch date and a dinner date, and we spent I can see the worry, we spent 8 hours together, right? For me, I was spending 8 hours with a friend. We went to varsity, we spoke about varsity times, and then we spoke about relationships. And this guy is in a relationship, by the way, and I was trying to advise him the best way that I could as a friend. To go to, oh no, maybe you should try this, you should try this. I got a call. I was asked, what are you doing out till this time? I was like, oh, just, chatting with a friend. Going to, I need to see we're lunching. I said, yeah, but then lunch evolved to dinner. What are you spending 8 hours with the guy for? I was like, what do you mean, why am I spending 8 hours with the guy? I'm not spending 8 hours with a guy. I'm spending 8 hours with a friend. So men need to understand this. I'm not saying we're right. When a female is friends with a guy, he stops being male.
Yeah.
He has no gender to us.
Exactly.
He's just a being. He might as well be a gay best friend or a female friend in terms of how we consider him, not in terms of what he is. But I have no sexual interest in this being at all. He might as well be my dog, really. So I was surprised. Why are you spending this much time with the guy? I was like, oh, it's a guy, whatever. But then we had 8 hours of our own discussion about what the problem was. And I realized, if I say I'm in love and I love this person, I have the responsibility to make sure that wherever I am, he's not disrespected, right? And by giving myself or giving this other person who's male that much access to me, that much time, it means, Uguti, I have opened the gate. And I'm saying to this guy, oh, okay, you can have 8 hours of my time. Kushuguti, I don't have anybody else that I should be giving my energy to, and you're just, like we were speaking about in terms of social media, it seems from a guy's perspective, which I'm selling myself. I'm not aware of this, right? I just thought I was being a friend, but apparently how you guys then interpret this situation is I'm going, I know, disrespect away, you have access to me, it doesn't matter, my guy doesn't care, I can spend as much time with you as I want. And I was like, oh, okay. From that perspective, I understand it's disrespectful, and so I have a responsibility in my relationship that I don't put myself in harm's way where the person I'm with is disrespected, whether I meant for that to happen or not.
Nihlangane kanjani nomngani lo wasevarsity social media?
In my story, yes, LinkedIn.
Okay.
But it was LinkedIn. It wasn't your normal social media. It was LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a business account. It's a business platform. And he said, hey, and I said, hey, how's it going? And he's like, oh, I've been looking for you. And he said dog. He didn't say babe. He didn't say love. I didn't know what dog. I didn't think dog meant
DAWG.
Yes, it's a dog. So I was like, how are you doing? Yes, it was social media, but it was a business platform.
Uyayazi game kunje phela phoxele khona lezo sefika uyazi bese yakhona. But it goes to lento enye yokuthi I'm happy ukuthi uyabona waba naleyo realization.
Oh, it took another 8 hours of discussion for me to finally get there.
So but manje it seems like you're not there ngoba uthi thina si decipher still ngendlela yethu it means we understand it for the sake to create a relationship, not
No.
what we understand our own.
No. It means ukuthi I've had to understand ukuthi the male brain works this way.
Okay.
If you ask me as a female, do I see men as friends? Yes. If you ask me as a female, do men see girls as friends? I've had to learn what to know they don't. And so there's that mismatch of wants and needs, right? That's what I've had to understand.
Above and beyond the bond in varsity, let's say the second meetup, if the call didn't come in, or besides that person, besides that person.
I've had male people that I've considered friends, yes. Yes. You were my friend for a long time. I'm so sorry, please just I haven't asked for an opportunity, the right to use his name, but just tell him I were friends. We never did anything.
Angiphikise ukhulume ngami mina ngikhulume ngami ngathi ngiyakavoida ke mina ngoba ngingafuni ukumosha ubuntombi bengane yabantu ngoba I know myself ayikho into engihlanganisa nomuntu esifazane as friends engeyilide kuyinto enjalo,
which I've had to learn.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying, is I've had to learn ukuthi female brains and male brains don't work the same.
So siyavumelana mina nawe ukuthi males and females can't necessarily be friends.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I've learned.
Oh, good.
But I've learned it because I've understood it. Even if I come to a man with what I believe is friendship energy, as I would call it, men don't come to me with friendship energy. Men come to me with any other energy other than friendship, because apparently we bore men. It's not like you guys are wanting to be friends with me. You guys are wanting one thing and you're trying to figure out what is the best way to get that. I've had to learn that. But you've got to understand, I'm not a man.
Yeah.
So I can't know it intrinsically. I can only learn it and understand it. It's okay, this is what it is. I can't know it inside of me.
No.
I can't. I'm not a man.
Then siyavumelana mina nawe bese sisimuva kule topic yokukhuluma about protection in a household. Yokuthi as a queen and it's you are born with some babies and I'm a kid. A man told Mrs. Kingdom. No, but that yes, in a household, yes. Yes, ngasho njalo, but abaningi bayahluleka ngisho nokuoperator leyo kingdom leyo ngendlela engicabanga ukuthi kufanele.
Before that, I do think though, before we move on to the next topic, it's important for men who are in relationships with women to understand that when you're speaking to a woman, you need to speak to her from her level of understanding.
No.
Right? Because that's how it was helped for me to understand. It would say, so okay, fine. Just because your intentions are this, it doesn't mean his intentions are that. But acknowledge what's in my intent, because why women get defensive and why they stop hearing you is because you're not coming to them from their brain, right? You've got to acknowledge, like it's like a child. When you're speaking to a child, you have to. I'm not saying women don't get that. That's not where I was going with that.
Those are your words.
But they're not my interpretation. I was going to say, just when you speak to a child, you don't speak to a child like you're speaking to another adult. You speak to a child from where the child understands, right? Like if I'm speaking to you about something, I can't speak to you with, I've got to understand, okay, men understand things this way. What examples can I use to help him understand what I'm saying? Your women fight with you when you tell them that they can't be friends with men, because you don't acknowledge that we see things differently. So when you're telling a woman she can't be a friend with a man, she's thinking you're saying she can't be a friend, and she's thinking I only have friendship energy, so I can be friends with a guy. But if you say to her, okay, yeah, you are in love with me, so you don't see Utami as anything but a friend. I get that, but you've got to understand Utami doesn't see. Utami is not you.
Kodwa wakhulumela ama sisters akho ngoba khona ama sisters out of disrespect, ngiyaku-understanda wena, not being experienced ukuthi u-understande leyo dynamic. Khona bayaziyo leyo dynamic. Banalama-orbiters, siwabiza ama-orbiters, labo bhuti laba ababhizi ko-Instagram bongashutha kulike aqala situfuza somhlaba, hayi inabaredi nje abalokhu begadile, ababhizi kuma-status o-WhatsApp, ibona kuqala bongafaka i-status, ibona kuqala sebesibonile bo-check all those things. Khona ama-females akwenza ngoba they-hungry for the attention.
Okay.
That's out of disrespect.
I agree.
Okunye ukuthi ngoba kudala bayiqala le journey yokuhamba belala. Iseba
Desensitized.
yes, they live off their attention. Yabo njoba uthi wena bongayiboni into wrong ukuba nabangani babafana yingoba qala lokho ni abafana beninikeza lama resources are expensive, but ninothola for free bese nitshela ukuthi wonke umuntu ufuna mbe ukanjalo. Then no understand umuntu wakho bese sehustlisha simgaqweni uyasebenza naso isikhathi sakho wena ubhizi wenza ikhanda ngiyala imali yakhe ngesikhathi ehustlisha ngoba ukhulekile umnandi noma ngemoto kanjalo. Bese eyashutha fake Instagram, nangu Sipho like nangu Bheki, love it inini ufike lana ngifike ngikhathelele ngihlalele couch ngiphuma emsebenzini usudiniwe wena. Udine ukuthi mina ngincumanga uSipho ubani nobani bancumile. It's those dynamics ithola manje sesiarguisha into engahlangene nayo futhi esponsorishwe yimina. Kuba naleyo dynamic that people amanye ama-females akwenza intentionally ngoba ifuna nje ukuvukuza ngoba embona lona ukuthi hayi asanginakile kanjalo. Khona nama-dynamics anjalo. Wena ngiyaku-understand lokho okuchazayo. Ngisho futhi ukuthi akukhona baka-understandayo ukuthi hayi ngimlindisile uBheki, ngimlindisile nobani nobehleli laphayana ngicuphe lona ukuthi bengathi nje kancane nabo abantu abangisizayo. Abanye bakhona for the sake of transport, abanye bakhona for the sake yezinye izinto. Yilokho ongadingakala.
So we speak about two different things here then, right? One of the things we're speaking about is disharmony within the primary relationship.
Harmony, not sense.
Disharmony.
Disharmony.
Disharmony in terms of I'm looking for attention outside because I'm not getting attention from inside. Now what we're disagreeing on is why am I not getting the attention from inside? And like what I heard you saying is you've been hustling, you're tired. Whatever, right? And that's where
That's your priority. Fine.
For you, right? But maybe you're with a woman who does need that acknowledgement, and that's why she's going. It's unfair to say that just because something is not important to you, it shouldn't be important to her. And that's why I'm saying we need to speak to the different parts. You are with somebody else, right? So where we then need to negotiate, right, is to say, I'm sorry I didn't see your hair yesterday. It is what it is. I was tired. The reason why your hair looks the way it is because I was out hustling. Now, you didn't acknowledge, wow, babe, you were hustling. Let me just give you a break.
Bengiyiqala nje ngithi isikhathi sisaqala ka ngithi ngicela singa-entertain izinto ezingasiletheli profit from the word go. So wena boqala udina bese ngithi lento idina lizosilethela income profit, yeah?
So profit is in two different ways, right? So profit for a man, because it's your job in this particular dynamic to bring money in, right? So that's how you will see profit. Perhaps for me as your woman who might be a stay-at-home person, I don't know, right? Part of profit is how I feel, my feelings, because unfortunately my feelings are going to affect this relationship. If I am an unhappy person, right? Whatever it is, different people need different things. If you unfortunately attracted a woman who needs that validation from you primarily, then you have to put in that effort to be like, babe, you look beautiful today, or this looks, that's who you unfortunately attracted. You have to, if you want harmony in your relationship, you have to then put in that effort. In the same way that she has to put in the effort to be like, okay, Unjabula might not be the type of guy who the minute he walks into the house goes, oh, what's wrong with you, right? Maybe what he likes is for me to go, you know what, babe, what's the hustle tomorrow? What do you need us to do tomorrow? But I've understood you, right? And I'm giving you what you need. You also need to give me what I need.
That's the thing.
Right?
Upendula, quite a few of the videos says men should just forget about women. If a person is building themselves up. Ngoba manje besibeke ngalo kingdom esiqale ngawo. Your house is your kingdom.
Right.
Asenze example ke king Mswati or whoever is the king. You can't expect wena manje ukuthi uyoshada kumswati bese umswati eyashintsha manje kufuneke lokho enza lezi zinto eziphethe. He's got a country to run. Manje uzoba busy and other wives to entertain.
Right.
Manje uzoba busy ke sekufuneke manje efundane nawe wena ungene kwi kingdom yakhe.
Right.
Like, is it not the other way around? Who's the prize? Who's the prize who relationship when I'm
between
in
we're
a very
both each other's prizes, right? Because you chose me, right?
Okay.
You invited me to come into your kingdom.
Okay.
Right? I didn't just barge in.
Good.
You want me there.
Right.
And I'm saying to keep me there, there are certain things that I needed. Having said that, I wanted to be there. That is why I accepted the invitation. And so there are certain things that I have to do as well to ensure that this kingdom thrives. We are both, technically we're both each other's prize.
Yeah, ileo dynamic evesenenza ama relationships amaningi abe heavy ngoba yabo manje bese that's just a point of view.
Right, that's fine.
Maning ama relationships that I see thrive, I hate. It's when now umuntu has built himself up, this woman wants to be with that man. Bese sefuna uba nalo wenza inoma yini efunakalayo laphayana befika laphana echazela ukuthi la ekhaya kuyasetshenzwa wenziwa ukuthi nokuthi sifake iduku ngoba siyabona siphathisa ngekhanda yokwenza ikhanda funeka sinoma abantu na yonke leyo bese ethi umuntu engene ebone ifake iduku eshadwe this is ishadiwe i-representative besiyahamba bese kuyasala kunotuthuko bese ingasekho ke i-representative notuthuko moment eshadi yami representative.
Yes.
Siyasuka ke manje the guy that's most ke yama relationship these days ayisekho i-representative. Now the guy has to look at FF around the female ngenxa yokuthi phela isikhathi eshadi ushade ngolove wenhliziyo akayenzanga i-prenup trial agreement.
Yes.
Usisi ihambile i-representative ngokusebonile ukuthi singiphakathi noma ngadivorce kusasa ngihamba no half wento engayisebenzelayo. The guy usebona ku expensive bese eloke remote control wake kuba nama negotiations. Ngizama ukuqala imichazelo kuba khona lento okukhuluma ngayo ama negotiations nani. Guys who are there, who are making things happen, they don't have time for negotiations. Asikho isikhathi ngizonegotiate na uthini ukuthi ufuna ubala hamba bekuthi manje sekufuneke ngenza umsebenzi ukuthi ngicine wena. No, wena ufuna ukuba la khona uzohlele ko happy. That's my point of view ngibona kwami ngoba
so you're automatically seeing yourself as the prize in this situation.
In if uzongena relationship with a female ungayiboni wena as a prize ungangeni relationship bowemuntu wesilisa lapho ngoba
okay, you're doing two different things here, right? You're talking about you and then you're talking about men in general.
Ngikhuluma men in general. Nami futhi.
Okay. So
If I don't like being in a relationship ngingayoni prize. I've been in relationships ngingayoni prize putting other people.
Why can't you both be the prize?
How can you be two kings? How can there be two kings in a kingdom?
No, so and that's the thing that I think sometimes we all misunderstand. But before I go there, right?
Correct me, please.
Going back to what we were talking about, there seems to be two ways in which you can enter a relationship, right? There's a relationship where you both started off. You both had nothing. You're both hustling. You're both supporting each other. Blah, 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 right? And there's a relationship which I think you favor, where the man has, and I understand why you favor it. I think I understand why you favor it. Men are
Providers.
hustlers, right?
Women.
You.
Women are not interested in the struggle. They just
They're not
just
interested in the same type of struggle. I think you.
yes.
Before I get there, right? And so you're interested in the idea that as a man you have to have things,
Yeah.
right?
You have to have your life in order.
I'm listening to you. And so, because that's what you have to do as a man, I understand and I accept the position that in order to do that, it would be simpler without a woman. It would be simpler.
Yeah.
I'm hearing your position. I'm agreeing with that position. That if you're a man who wants to get things, it's much simpler. Hustle, get everything you need, get your house, get your job, your car, get whatever. I get what you're saying, right? Because what happens there is you'll probably get into your 40s, you have everything that you want, you realize that you want to have children, and you realize for the most part in order to have children you need a woman,
Yes.
right? When you've already done that, when you've already accumulated that, you have made yourself the ultimate alpha. So any woman that comes into a position where a man is already like that, right? She needs to first of all understand what is she coming in for. And so in that case, that relationship where you're talking about where she has to ship in or shape out,
Right.
makes sense. But we're talking about two different relationships here. So in the relationship that you're talking about, cool.
Yeah.
I understand. If she wants to come in knowing Uguti as a man, this is what you've done, this is who you are, and she wants to come into that, then she has to ship in or shape out. But not all relationships are created that way.
Not all relationships are created that way. If you're not in a relationship, or if you're not that way as a male, right? Forget about long-term relationships. Forget about being in a relationship with umuntu, because you need to qualify as a guy, you need to qualify or make yourself a certain way ukuze ube nempilo happy in future. If siqala ngale dynamic yale relationship le ngithi le ukuthi ngiyahlanganisa neyale ilama relationships lawa agcine ahlale nama problems yabona mingenza ama consultations ilokwakha na yonke into, because really women aren't really interested in the hustle and struggle. That is why as a guy bosa hustlisha unomuntu esifazane lana, you can't really tell them lezi zinto lezi eziphathana ekhanda stop Instagram ungenzi ukuthi kuze nikwazi ukufocus angaxabani ngoba uzokutshela anything afuna ukutshela yona ngoba view as equals ngoba nawe uyahustlishela mhlawumbe uhola more than wena and futhi une boss yakhe futhi lapha yana ibona ingcono kunawe konke lokho. You are not the person yena ufuna ukuthi ebona ufuna ukuthi ubonakala uyena kuyena umuntu esifazane. That's a dynamic. So besikhuluma ku platform la sithi guys, build yourselves up. Yes, have girlfriends, have fun, play the field. But bese usufuna uba serious, vet your woman, right?
And women vet your man.
Yeah,
that's
women. That's very good. Yes, ngoba amanye ama females. Females, there's more benefit for a female most of the time being in a good relationship ngoba njoba kade nihambile nobhuti lo ka 8 hours, who did the spending?
We both were going to do the spending,
but who did the spending?
and then he said don't do it. I said okay, thank you.
That's the thing. Most of the guys kuma entertainment yama females, it's their yama resources abo nesikhathi sabo isigcine spending. So we're trying to tell guys, uyacabanga ukuthi ukhishwa ukhipha umuntu ukhipha imali uspend isikhathi kodwa nalowo muntu omkhiphayo akakuboni ukuthi umuntu wesilisa ushiva usisi hayi boni negender akaboni lutho.
Because I went out with my friend, I didn't say I was going out with my lover.
Angikuphikisi, angikuphikisi ngithi khona bakwenza on a full-time basis leyo nto,
and they're wasting their time and their
wasting
resources.
time, resources, yes. Boku relationship manje you answering my questions amaningi kade abanye abantu kade benayo, and I'm happy, thank you very much, especially le yokuthi kufanele nakhisane into ngoba the moment njoba nakhisana into usuke wena kade unesi ufundiswe ulo kade esefemini ugise femini ngikufundisa ubonesi uhamba usebenza ubodokotela ubonesi esibhedlela sisiqala singathi sikufuna sibambisane ke futhi manje ngithi suyasuka ube umatron sohola ngcono nami ngisefemini ayikho into esisuyithatha serious ngeke usangithatha even ngeke usangithatha serious futhi most of the time the moment umuntu wesifazane waba indoda kwe relationship uyakhumbula isikhathi ungasamboni lo muntu wesilisa umuntu wesilisa kuba vice versa nakhona ngoba ekhaya nomuntu wesilisa lo kade kufundisile wasuba umatron wasuba yonke leyo nto usamboni kahle njengoba bayikhaya ngoba you're contributing more so bo bengithi build yourself up iba umuntu onayo yonke into ongeke ngathi nje bathi sikhuluma no-cancel card ungabi dependent ukuzokhanselishwa nani ube free agent nje ube right.
Just so you know, audience, a little jab.
Be the person, build yourself up. There's always someone ozofuna ukuzongena kwi-kingdom yakho ozothobela umthetho we-kingdom yakho engelokhu eniphikisana naye and you're gonna live a lovely, a happier life than i-life la nakhe khona ngoba most of the time futhi ikuhlwana abaningi in-consultant ngithola ukuthi sebuild upile bayakhana abe ngcono ubhuti bese yazama ukumdonsa umfukule lo abakhanaye kodwa la akhanaye akasekho kule point le ubhuti la ekhona bese kuba ne-clash futhi nalapho ngoba manje the guy wants to go somewhere lona usefeel comfortable ngale somewhere inyana abakuyona bese kuba naloma issues ubhuti ebona abangcono abafuna ukuhamba naye bese shiya lo ade behlanganisa naye.
So there's 2 points there that I'm hearing.
Okay, yeah, what ngaye ukuthi
so
look at it dissect and it's good, yeah.
That's
good. No, that's good. Yeah.
This might make me very unpopular to a lot of women today, right? I am the type of female who is likely to agree with the idea that women aren't interested in the hustle.
Okay, good.
Right? Mm-hmm. And my argument in women not being interested in the hustle is because that's not my area. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm not the provider of this household. Mm-hmm. You are the provider. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about a hustle, I also see, especially when you talk to men only see hustle in one way, right? And the way in which men talk about the hustle, it's about going out there, fighting dragons, doing whatever it is you need to do in order to bring the bacon in the home, right?
So
the reason why I'm not interested in the hustle is, as me, I'm not saying all women have to be like that, but I'm not a provider. Mm-hmm. In that sense. I'm not a physical provider, right? My hustle is in the home. Good. But what I don't like is when my hustle is in the home, right? Men don't seem to see that as a hustle, right? You see it with if the house is clean, if there's food on the table, your clothes are ironed, your clothes are washed. That was my hustle.
Good.
So we're both hustling, but we're hustling in different ways. So yes, I'm interested in the hustle, just not in your hustle. Mm-hmm. My hustle is making sure that my husband and my children are taken care of. That's my hustle, right? But I do feel a lot of men then disrespect those types of women who stay home, homemakers, and you're seen as you're just a homemaker. But isn't, if you're there to fight for your kingdom, and I make your kingdom the cleanest, most comfortable kingdom there is, how do you then dare to disrespect me?
How you disrespected?
Goguti, just like you feel good when a woman becomes the head breadwinner, she no longer sees. Some men, when they have women who aren't working and who are staying in the house, don't enjoy that, right? They'd be like, don't look at me like that. Am I, Tammy, feel free, you're not listening to us anymore. No, you don't want to be brought into
pictures.
There are some men who prefer women who go out there and work. And when you are a woman who's not working, bathi wena uyini buka lo thunjani buka lo thunjani buka lo yakwazi ukuyithengela imoto yakho lokhu ufuna imoto omini lokhu. There are men who are like that.
Ngifuna understand ukuthi yes siyakule dynamic le yalaba abafuna abantu babo abazenzelayo good njengoba usho kodwa most yama females bafuna namadoda azobenzela angithi lamadoda lawa afuna ama females ukuthi azenzele yilawa
the ones that you need help, you think need help.
I think ngoba baba na same problem manje same guys thola ukuthi yeah hamba uthenga imoto hamba then umuntu wesifazane uthi okay bese banobhekila ozothi yazi ngicela ukuthenga imoto bantu ngicela ugcwalisele ngathi kuba izinto ezinjalo. So those are the guys who usually have those types of problems ngoba awukwazi ukuthi manje your kingdom wazi ukuthi kwenzakalani ube in control of your kingdom bo umuntu othi hamba uzenzele.
But would you agree that we are full of those types of men in society as well?
Bakhuluma kanjalo laba bakhuluma kanjalo because they are used to le dynamic yokuthi kube khona umuntu wesifazane uzihustling naye bephume behustling.
And women talk the same way as well.
But umuntu wesilisa who has made it and has things going for them use build it up usene income kwazi ukusebenza ama investments akhe ayengena business lakhe lingenisa imali akadinga ukuthi esebenza uyasebenza ngoba participate uyakwazi uku-afford umuntu wesifazane at that time uzokwazi ukuthi amenzele yonke into housewife enemoto kanjalo kanjalo. Mina uzokuchazela ngifuni personally angifuni ngisho ukuthi car wash.
Okay.
Uyohlangana
you just want a woman who just stays in
no. Hamba shopper, hamba wenza inzipho, hamba book club, but
with your female friends.
With your female friends,
right.
Or by yourself, or whatever. But
your life revolves around our home.
Your life revolves around our home, yourself as well. You need to build yourself up now. Understanding izinto ezenzeka la ekhaya ngoba njengoba uhleli la ekhaya unesikhathi sokuthi uhambe out and learn about the business ngoba bengikahle ebhakede. I need someone ozokwazi ukuthi coordinate izinto. Do you understand?
So kusho nini lokho nje? Umtshela esela o unsabonisana usamshela.
Bosamshela no. Ukhumbule you build yourself up. Ngine sisho nje mthamizi usezakhile unomuzi wakhe uya-afford business una yonke into nangu nontuthuko uyafika uyambona nontuthuko neshelana phela nontuthuko enikhulume umbone uyamvethe nontuthuko oqala umnikela oqala umtshela ukuthi uzomenzani uqala beyintombi nje futhi wamvethe no 2 years 3 years
umvithize nje umvithize umthetha ngabo
ngiyavithiza ukhumbule lalela ukhumbule ukuthi niyavithiza.
Okay, I'm testing.
Exactly. Okay. I'm testing. Ngoba nawe uyakutesta.
Nonkululeko ubuye umfake.
Nonkululeko. Futhi ungamiyeki ke zekhaya, ungamiyeki unonkululeko, ungamiyeki uRose, ungamiyeki bonke ungabayeki ngoba you need the contrast.
Right.
And uyayidinga ne variety khona umuntu uthuke ezohlala interesting. Ngoba bese yedwa nontuthuko uzoba ne problem kuba abantu bayibona sebeyodla amaphilisi ama-Viagra nani because manje katheli le shandisi leyodwa le nandoza lokho inandoza imnandi kodwa yimbi bese usuyidla every day funeka ukuthi wimpi ukuthi hayi ngoba ngi-advocate ukudla unhealthy but
you seem to be
no okay kuwayi ukuthi bread and co salad ukuthi usahamba kancane akunwele kamnandi yazi phela bese bevulele le ama extractor ama KFC ukuthi uyadloba uthi hayibo
lokho unhealthy kaphela
singiyasho no
that's
but lokho kuyasiza ukuthi enjoy inandozi le khona endlini for guys i-variety yasiza in that sense. So umuntu ozakhile ufanele benama options fanele wena ungene la bese usungenile la uyabona nawe isikhathi sivethana sungivethile uyabona ukuthi ngiyasamwe nando bese uyahlala u-accommodate lokhu vithizwa kwakho kade ukhuluma ngakho ngoba uyayibona ukuthi uyapi yakithi.
I think my problem with what you're saying is masuzakhile as umuntu wesilisa uzakhela for ini mhlamba
for yourself hayi omunye umuntu bozakhela ukuthi
Okay.
ufuna
For
attract
yourself,
abantu besifazane,
right?
you
For
do it for the
yourself.
wrong reason as well.
So masuzakhile for yourself. Umuntu wesifazane umfunelani?
Umfunela ukwenza ingane, umfunela ukuthi sukhathele uqasha usisi ozoklina, ukhathele uqasha usisi uchef ezokuphekela, usuthi yazi mhlambe kukhona ongenza lo msebenzi futhi enjoy namanye ama perks ukuthi usezoba ne Wi-Fi allowance, uzoba ne protection ngoba yenye into
Okay.
bobuza abantu besifazana ukuthi what do you want in a man, ethi ufuna umuntu one direction, ethi ne direction izingifise la ngifike khona ngizakhile, ufuna umuntu ozoprotect, so wena suka kini babo wakho uzoprotectwa lana
Okay,
ngithi
right? Ima, thank you. I'm sure there's an exhausted. I hear it.
Right.
My problem with what you're saying is on one thing only. Is you seem to think, Uguti, by inviting somebody into your life, there is no compromise that you need to make at all. As if this person should fit into your life
Yes.
like a cookie cutter. And unfortunately for you, human beings aren't like that.
Good.
Are you willing to have, for all people, there are non-negotiables, right? And so for your non-negotiable, it's a non-negotiable.
Women should complement your life. Most of the time,
Right.
umuntu manje.
And they should complement your life in what you're saying, in the same way that a woman who chooses to be with you feels like you complement her life as well,
Okay.
whether you realize it or not. That's neither here nor there. But from what I'm hearing, the sense that I'm getting is that you don't think, Uguti, you will have to make any sort of concession at all, as if nje gunjabul.
Yeah.
This is it,
Yeah.
or nothing at all.
Yeah. Futhi ngikwenza lokho on
Okay.
video ngizama ukuchazela nabantu ukuthi there are people like me bakhona,
Oh, there are.
and most guys want that. It's just that ile programming ekhona ngizokuchazela uze wena ufuna compromise kwenzeka izinto ngoba kusetshenziswana nayo ngithi iyona evesanenza abantu bephathwa amakhanda ngoba guys can't compromise.
So you don't think guys can compromise on anything at all?
Ngoba bakhona abantu besifazana labantu besifazana abadinga compromiseelwa yilaba dala bona beyilento efunwa yilabantu ade bebafuna ngesikhathi
I disagree.
you would, yes. This is what happens isikhathini sakhula esikhathini khula ni labantu nithola le attention labantu enibafunayo laba bama age group enu ningabafuni ngoba bay tick lama boxes izinto eniyifunayo nani bo approach loyo muntu ave nikwazi ukuba yilento leyo umuntu oyifunayo. I problem iqhamuka bese lento yo compromise no negotiate yileyo ucabanga ukuthi ni equal nabantu besilisa in most of the time.
What do you understand about the idea of equality? Maybe that's where I'm confused. Equal in what way?
Ukuthi manje ufuna compromise wena ufike la ususvethanile uyazi ukuthi ilento engitshela ilento engishilo ukuthi iyahamba representative angithi before you even uvumi engagement bobona ukuthi le engagement ihlanganisa le headache wenqaba wenqa kuyibonga it's not for you kodwa bozongena bese uthi yazi ngizongena ngifuna ishintshe sengiphakathi ilo shintsho surprisingly ngekuthole bese uba miserable.
So
okay. A fair point.
So that was my question ukuthi sesivethane for 2 years obviously kune lifestyle esesiyiphila now.
Okay.
I'm on my social media as a woman busy now that sengilana usuthi cut.
No.
That's where we
So that mhlambe yi-resistance iqala lapho ukuthi how all of a sudden
no
that's where the problem
from the word.
that's why ngibuza ukuthi umtshela nini.
umtshela I agree because here's the other thing. I know I'm cutting you short.
No, I'm happy that you're doing that.
There's this idea that you're coming with Uguti, only women have a representative, as if men don't have a representative. If we can agree that during this 2-3 years of Vitizana's Vetana, we both show who we truly are. Ngoba nami ngicela ungathi mase ngikushadile sengithola umunye unjabulo. Ngicela ukuthi kube unjabulo lo kade ngimbona for the past 2-3 years. Ma ukuthi kunjalo, then obviously by the time we get married, we've vetted each other, we've voiced each other, enough for us to both know this is who I am and this is who you are.
Yes.
So there, I think that's a fair statement.
Oh,
to
you know,
say,
from the word go, Uzi.
no,
Okay,
that's fine. If it's from the word go.
and
but-
it's easier to say it as well if you've built yourself up. You build
No,
yourself
that's
up,
fine.
it's okay. Say you get to know each other. This is
No, that's a fair
do you know
point.
me? Connors and Denga was we tolerated this.
No,
and
that's
that.
a fair point
Oh,
because you've had
okay,
2 or
yeah,
3 years. No,
yes.
that's a fair point.
From first date, siyahamba busy social media, and then second date, okay. But if sis decide it's okay, we're going steady, na yonke into yachaza ukuthi steady wam uzozuba steady lo, you know. Only when you start ticking these boxes. Until
No,
then,
that's a
we
fair
say
point.
yes.
I
That's
agree
where
with
I
that,
am. Yes,
but
not
I
to change
wasn't-
it.
That's what
No,
I
no,
was
no, no.
doing.
Change it.
And that's why I was saying it's a bit unfair. Would you say there are some men, just like women, who have a representative?
Oh,
right?
definitely. Everyone has a
Which must just get
representative.
them mustn't how.
No, everyone.
This is not who you presented to me before I said yes.
Any dynamic ke ile yokuthi manje abantu besilisa awuse bashintshiswa yilokho.
It's a woman.
Well,
Because apparently it's always our fault.
bashintshiswa yilokho i-realization yokubona umuntu wesifazane ngama-true colors akhe. Kuba yilokho, that's one. Into angayifundiswanga kwi-household la iphuma khona siye saba nalo discussion yokuthi ukhuliswa umama, bekhuliswa umama
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening.
ukhule kwi-household enomama nobaba, but umama was a dominant figure kuziwa ngaye kulomuzi. So all the kids, yes, all the kids now ekhanda lakhe uzocabanga ukuthi no, it was happy wife happy home.
Happy wife, happy life.
Destroyer ama-relationships leyo, especially imishado, ngoba now ukubeka umunye umuntu kwi-pedestal, ukumpedestalizer umuntu wesifazane kanjalo only bese umuntu wesilisa lo naye odinga ukuthi eyifeel as a king, umthole manje usedla utshwala kanjalo.
So you know what that problem is on both sides? It's the inability to vet properly. If you as a man didn't
Ngingene lapho ungamvetha all you want umuntu, but bomvetha with the mindset or i-programming effeminized, kodwa wena umuntu wesilisa bese usungena emshadweni la usekufuna ube nama-responsibilities omuntu wesilisa, ube umuntu wesilisa, bese uthi uyawathatha lo muntu besilisa bese every time your dick gets chopped down ngoba lo muntu wesifazane niyakompetha naye, lo muntu wesifazane umbeke ku-pedestal.
Those are two different things, right?
Okay.
We are talking.
Okay. Two different things.
But you are talking about two
yes,
different
yes.
things, right? We're talking about one, a man who's well established, knows himself, and decides to invite a female into his life. Hopefully, that man knows himself well enough, right? Hasn't had that, has de-washed, whatever himself, unlearned what you would consider unhealthy
pussification,
whatever, I won't use that word, unhealthy program. I didn't say you can't, I said I won't, right? So for that, when we vetted each other and then you change the marriage, that excuse that changes, and you as a man change the marriage.
Change how?
When your representative goes, and then suddenly the things that you said you wanted, you don't want, or the way you said you would provide and were providing, you're no longer providing, then Nami, I have a right to be unhappy with that, because shoot Gavel Bung as a representative, right?
Okay.
So there's that. When I say two things, for the man that you're talking about, he's built himself, he knows himself, he's gone to enough psychologists, he's unbrainwashed himself, right? He can't have that excuse. What's my sister in him? Or the reason why I'm changing is because of this, and this. I won't accept that excuse. Right? But
ngithi kumuntu wesilisa useyibuild up bese seyibuild up waba nakho konke lokho anakho, bese eyavetha wangena, bese se decide ukushintsha ungafuni ukuhambisana noshintsho, right? Seyashintsha.
No, that's not the conversation we're having. Time and I were asking about when we're in that vetting stage, right? You should have vetted somebody well enough, and you should have presented yourself and not put across a representative.
But represented yourself. Ngingasho ukuthi ngi-established ingekho established. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, don't be the same way you're talking about Uguta, you'll vet a woman. She comes into a marriage.
Oh yes.
And
No,
then
that's
suddenly she has a
expected. No,
representative.
that's expected. Ukuthi
That's what I'm
ngeke
saying.
uthathe ingane yabantu kubidla kahle bese uzoyilambisa la. It's understandable ukuthi ihanga izomcreator lo muntu ukuthi ebe umunye umuntu kade engamazi ngoba ihanga iyashintshana. You understand? Asibe ngiya
How about like a sister you taught me good things.
I understand the dynamic. Ngikhuluma mina ukuthi asithi akushintshi lokho.
That's fine.
Ukhumbule ungifica mhlambe ngino 2 million.
Right.
I think like umuntu ono 2 million nama opportunities ka 2 million kanjalo. Ngikuthathe lana ngoba sikhuluma ama plans. I-mindset yami, I'm looking at the world ne-freedom yezinto engikwazi ukuzenza based on 2 million.
Right.
Hustling ibe no-100 million.
Right.
My thoughts and ambitions have changed.
All right.
So bengibuya manje ngichaze no, I won't tolerate this because lokhu uzongaffect ukuthi ngingabi kanje nanje. Yazi yini sengizo it manje ngijwayele ngifika mhlambe 3 times a day, 3 times in a week kwakho ngikwa
basically circumstances have changed.
Yes.
I get that.
So bese uthwena singachaza ukuthi mhlambe bengikubona wena ngo Tuesday nango Wednesday angisakwazi ukufika mhlambe sekhona nomunye wesifo ngoba nemali phela isikhona kanjalo siyavuma bese uthwena hayi ngeke kumele wena uthi ungawutholi u Tuesday no Wednesday yilo ma dynamics ashintsha.
Let me ask this question, right? Ufika wamshada eyedwa.
Yeah, okay,
right,
you can say that.
Let's just say that. Ngiyabuza.
Umshade eyedwa ushadiwe kodwa uyazi ngoRose uget through.
Okay, if she knows, that's one thing. So that's another thing that has to happen. If you're a polygamous type of person or a multi-relationship type of person, it does help. Relationship we're having a 2 million discussion. I'm going to 100 million kind of man, and there will be. She has a right to know. What do you mean to hlangana?
Usikhathi usavetha bengitshela lokho angifuni excite imali. Ngifuna angikhulumi nokukhuluma imali.
It's not about money.
We're not even talking those plans.
That's not what I was talking about, right? I was going to say, as a 100 million man kind of guy, there's going to be Rose, there's going to be Upilile, there's going to be.
I don't know. Ilento ngisho ukuthi I don't know ukuthi ngizocabanga kanjani sino 100 million ngoba ngikazi ngibe no 100 million.
Okay, kodwa now has ukuthi uzocabanga kanjani. Also be open to the fact that the person you chose to marry also doesn't know how she will think.
Angikuphikisi.
Right.
Kodwa ngithi
when are you making it seem to the audience like she should just be this way and say, why is it that you are allowed to have a different
I'm the king.
personality and she's not?
I'm the king.
So she's nothing.
No. She's the queen. Definitely the king.
So, but what does the queen's role? Her role is to just
stay in your queen's role and in your place and listen to the king.
What is the queen's role? So her role is only to listen to you, to have no opinion. To have no opinion at all.
Having an opinion doesn't mean it's over considered. Opinion, anyone can have an opinion. So when you think of
providing, is protecting the king.
Yeah.
So you're thinking of, when you're saying providing, you're only talking about financial provision.
Everything with protection, protection.
But what about emotional providing? What about I need a cuddle, and what about all of those provisions?
Cuddle. Whoever.
So when I was vetting you, so when I was vetting you, the way in which you used to cuddle me, this sounds like such a stupid conversation, right?
You need to understand, trust me. Yeah.
So when I was vetting you, because you've asked me to vet you, this is what I agreed to. You cuddled me 3 times a week, right? And that is what we agreed to. I do not like these photos that are being taken right now. No, right?
They're not for social media, but
when you don't do that, I'm supposed to just go, oh, okay. I'm supposed to just be like, what I need. And when I vetted you, this is how we vetted each other. This is what we agreed on. I need this, right? And I'm just supposed to just go,
Not necessarily. I understand.
But that is what you're saying. Can't I at least say, okay, fine?
You can say it.
And you're saying it's not going to necessarily be considered. You're not married to a person who doesn't have feelings or doesn't have whatever. Why can't I say to you, okay, fine, Jabud, you didn't know you were going to have 100 million, whatever, and you were going to be able to have Rose and Jackie and whatever.
No, bebe khona sisaqala.
Oh, okay. And now, well, that makes it a little bit tricky. So, mabe khona, no, from what I was going to say, ma would say bebe khona. Then what would the 100 million change in that?
Uzoshintsha mhlawumbe uzoshintsha isekutheni ke mhlawumbe bekhona his girlfriend siyafakwa as wife.
How does that change?
Phela kuwena uzobe ngoba sekuyoshada umunye sufuna usushintsha wena manje uthi hayi manje
wena ngokumshada lo munye, how does it change our dynamic?
It shouldn't.
Well, if it doesn't, then what are we talking about?
But wena oshintshayo uqala isikhuluma
ngalo so angithi ngiyavele ngiyamazi to Rose khona.
Okay.
Is it possible to when by changing them and changing the status of your relationship, you've now changed how you interact with me?
Probably.
But because you're making it seem to the audience and to me as if nothing would have changed, and so I must just be okay because nothing's changed. I'm going, no, wait a minute. If certain things have changed, okay, surely we have to talk about. I can't just be like, when we
talk about it in one sense.
Depending on what it is that's changed, right? So for me, the most important thing is I need access to you, especially for my children,
okay,
right? And if you're saying, listen, I'm not going to have as much access, I'm not going to see the kids as much, this, we're going to have a conversation about that, right?
Okay.
Because my primary reason for coming into this relationship is to build this family,
okay,
right? And when we vetted each other, I was very clear to you that I want a husband who's able to do this, and part of what I want is access to my children need a father who is present in their life, whatever that might mean. We vetted each other and we discussed that. If you then change that, which is a primary thing that we discussed, I have a right to say, okay, we need to make certain changes in this house as well. I can't just go,
okay,
oh, okay, I have to say, okay, what are we going to do about this situation?
Listen, it's okay. Angakazi yet, but ushintsho khona sobona ngokwenzeka ngisabhizi ngisebenza sobona sohlanganisa.
Okay, fine. So is there a time that I can, because you're busy, right? And
okay, sesiyahlala ke phansi sesiyahlanganisa bese siyaxoxa ke it's okay. Singizobona hayi ngo-Tuesday and Wednesday, singizobona on Tuesday kuphela.
All right, okay. Tammy Junior noma uNjabulo Junior ukuthi wena uzi kumina, that's fine, but udinga ubaba wakhe for this and this, right?
Okay.
As the provider, and I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about things that make my child whole as an individual. So who do you propose fill that space? How do you want me to fill that space?
No, me ngizofika Tuesdays, ngizospend isikhathi nabo on Saturdays ingane ngihlanganise zonke.
So those are the discussions we need to have. Because that's what I'm saying, those are the dynamics. So now you have to realize you have changed my life. You've changed it.
But ekukhulumeni lokho ngikhuluma mina ngokushintsha ukuthi ngoba sekukhona lawo ma dynamics enzakalayo bese wena uthi ngoba sengenza lezi ezinye izinto sekufanele manje sizo-negotiate.
Yes, and negotiator, but unfortunately, the fact that you want to marry another woman, I don't mind.
Bengikhuluma mina negotiation yokuthi ufila kanjani ngokuthi lokhu nalokhu kuyenzeka in terms of feeling. Get me now. Guys have a problem with now accommodate lama feelings ngoba into engapheli indaba yama feelings yenu. Manje bengifune ngenze into angisakwazi ukuyenza ngoba manje ufune ngiconsideration ama feelings lento esinga operating ngayo ama feelings
ukuthi an operating ama feelings, right? I don't think it means ukuthi you completely ignore them, right? You can at least acknowledge it's okay, shame, yeah. Oh, you feel like you don't want Rose to be your other wife.
Akukho noba khona lokho.
You go, okay, what feelings do you have? What is the problem with that? And I could say, this is my problem with that. I feel like maybe there won't be enough resources for me. There won't be this. So I need reassurance. The reason why I'm feeling, this is the problem, and then I need reassurance because we vetted and we had it. So you need to also come up and say, okay, no, the resources are there, or we're going to have to change our lifestyle as a family because unfortunately the resources have changed. But at least give me the opportunity to state why my feelings are the way that they are.
No, yeah,
you seem to be saying, so you're going to be like, oh, you've got feelings about this.
Yeah,
Deal with it. Why can't you at least say, what are your feelings? If my feelings are, I don't like Rose because Rose is prettier than me, then you can go, okay, well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
right?
no,
But at least because we are in a relationship, at least ask me what the problem is.
But it's another waste of time. Ngoba whatever bosakhuluma ngama feelings, mina intention ingakona ukwenza any that type of way, whatever you're feeling. Ngibona kuyi-waste of isikhathi most of the time esilokhu esintathenana nama
I
feelings.
think as a provider, as a man, right?
Because let's say even the situation yemali iyashintsha isayona lento eyiyona. I don't think I wouldn't go and tell you ngoba don't want ukuthi kube more difficult ukuthi ngirecover ngoba the moment ngatshela umuntu esifazana ukuthi hey sinama problems akanje nakanje nakanje, as much as your input sometimes is kodwa ibuye ibe harder ngokuthi abanye bafaka ama feelings uthi hey sisizokwenza kanjani babakhe hey uthi uyavuka ekseni right kodwa hey uthi uyihlalile icabangela hey wabisho wena kuqala kanti it's those things engwe ngithi mina ngithi rather deal with it as a guy. Yeah, but kula ilezo zinto ezenza other things kuma meals ube difficult ngoba thina so operate from yabona boy shayekela uyishayela uthi ish konje ngizohlanganisa ini yazi ama feelings asuke kude kodwa the moment watshela umuntu ofilayo into you just make it that much harder to deal with whatever issue onayo ngoba manje sekufune manje u-ede nalokhu angisho ukuthi bangaxoxisana all they want but ngikhuluma mina ngokwenza impilo ibe lighter wewasho futhi uyihinta kancane ukuthi ya umuntu wesilisa bofuna ilokhu nalokhu ya umuntu esifazane yes uzokwenza ukuthi slightly ithathe longer.
Yes, so I was acknowledging what yes, it can take longer to get that. I didn't necessarily mean that just because it takes longer, it doesn't mean you won't get everything that you want. So that depends. Where I was going with that is, as a man, then that you've got to decide what it is that you want.
Oh God,
if you want to have this faster, then yes, don't have a woman in your life. But if you want to have both things, and you know you're going to accomplish what you want, and you want it with a woman, go ahead. I don't see a problem with that.
Bongakufuni faster. Ile dynamic important. Some people think bano rewind, bano playback, bano repeat kule mpilo le. So besithatha longer usuke manje ngoba wena somehow uyazi ukuthi uzofuna 8 noma uzofuna 70 na 40 manje or 35. You want to take your time in doing all that. It's important ngoba iyona into ekwenza ukuthi ube happy, uenjoy impilo, ifreedom ukuba financially free. Ukuba nendlu yakho ube nemoto yakho engakweleti nazo zonke lezo zinto. Do that first. Do that first. Ukuthi from a woman. It takes a stage.
What you think is important first as a man, right? Because this is a man's podcast.
But
so as a man, Unjabulu would say, from his perspective,
time is valuable.
What is important is to get a house, a car, and what have. From Unjabulu's perspective, I don't think you're any less of a man just because I am. But I would like to point this out.
Okay.
Doesn't mean because you might not have said it, but I would like to say that you're not any less of a man if you don't get those things if by 30 you didn't achieve a mansion, but you have a good house, you have a wife, and you have children. If those were your priorities, then you have done well for your standards.
And foot well
and
done. But here's the thing: don't complain.
That's fine.
No.
I agree with that.
Don't complain. Bese yiko bezofika consultation besohlala phansi naye. Enomuzi wakhe, enomfazi, eningane na yonke into. bese complaina ngab something in relation to lento esiyikhulumayo yisho ukuthi iproblem ingoba uqale ngalokho ekufuna ukugcine ngakho angithi understand
ofuna ukugcine ngakho according to unjabula
nawe
if you are complaining
but now ushilo
no,
uthe
it takes longer. It doesn't mean ukuthi you didn't get the things you wanted.
Lalela into emnandi ukukhuluma lo muntu lona okwazi ukuwaste isikhathi sama meals angisho kambi ngoba ungayi-understand i-value nalama meals amanye angayi-understand i-value into ekuthiwa isikhathi. Time is a very important resource ingachazela for most guys abaneplan yokwenza izinto ama-guys futhi angacomplaining ngempilo ngifuna ukuchazela lokho ngoba if ungayona lento lena umuntu ohlekisana nayo akubona ungcono kakhulu kunabanye abantu une problem ukuthi uhleli kwakho ubukela iTV ubona umuntu ku TV engcono kunawe in any shape way or form une problems as a guy so don't even entertain umuntu wesifazana umbeke la ungakabi lento lena uyifunayo futhi lo muntu wesifazana ozomthatha umbeke la ekubone as a king ekubone as yonke into yakhe ngalokho kuba khona ama compromise nama negotiations bozothatha umuntu ozafuna ukuthi compromise ngibe nama negotiations na yonke leyo uzoba ne problem.
Gentlemen, it is possible for a woman to see you as a king. You might not be a Bill Gates.
Yes.
You might not be a whatever it is, right? A woman, if you vetted her and she's vetted you, she can see you as the king of the castle that you've built for her. Yes. It might not be the most expensive castle.
It doesn't have to be.
The carriage that you drive might not be
the
most
to
expensive
be.
carriage, right? So as a man, because this is a male podcast, exactly.
As long as it's yours.
As a man, if what you prioritize first is this, then have it, right? Don't have to feel that there are certain men who go, this is what a man should want, and in order for that to happen, if you don't have it as a man, you're any less of a man. I will agree with Unjabulu when he says, right? If you've decided on the path that Unontutu is talking about, and you don't have the things that Unjabulu is talking about, then you have no right to complain about that. I agree with that. But when you're making it seem as if I'm going, Uguti, a time waster, I don't think it's time wasted if it's what you wanted. If it's what you wanted, then you didn't waste your time. You did life exactly the way that you wanted it. However, if what you want is what Unjabulo wants, then of course I am having to agree, Uguti, having a woman in your life when you're younger and you haven't got the things that you wanted, then of course you have no other choice but to see her as a time waster. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I don't want men who make a different decision to feel that they're any less men or of a man just because they have got things that when they watch TV, everybody when they watch TV goes, oh, I wish this. Another thing, you can have everything that Unjabulu is talking about and still be unhappy. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
Right? You're making it seem as if the only unhappiness comes from if you've decided to be with a woman.
Amnandi ama-problems emali kunama-problems ongamnamali. Amnandi ngoba lama problems ubona imali asothwa as usually imali. Okay. Uba happy ya mbone imali ngoba uyakwazi ukuyakuma ukuthola lo sizo odingayo ukuze ugcine uhappy elikusheshiselayo ngoba you can afford to pay ukuthi usheshe ube happy bongena imali ufanele manje udependele ku government state udependele ku state manje ukuthi ubone psychologist isikhathi sayo kanjalo then prolong again indaba yokuthi izinto zakho yisheshise zenzeke. Time is very important ngoba wazi ushona nini nani emhlabeni ave kumnandi it's ayikho into emnandi nje ukuphila emhlabeni it's a privilege to be a human being. Right. I need people to understand that and ukuthi ufuna into yaziyo yes wazi ukuthi kufanele kube nendlu 3 room if that is what you want thola lokho but mimi ngichazela bese usukutholile lokho as ukuthi nawe as a guy kunabantu kunenhlobo yabantu abathiza bazofitha kuleyo nto ngikhuluma mina bengikhuluma la ngikhuluma I'm accommodating those people ngithi if verse ufuna ukuba njalo happy ngikhuluma ngabantu happy mina ukuthi ngikhuluma I'm trying to help the guys aba unhappy it's any into
I wasn't aware. I thought you were talking to all men.
No ngizama ukusiza laba aba-unhappy ngoba ngibona nami ngihlale ngibabona njalo. It's
When
like-
attract abantu
No, no,
abamahamba
ngoba bangikhokhela. Angiba-entertain for free. Kodwa ngizama ukusiza nabanye out there or aba-unhappy ukuthi now manje ama-dynamics angaba i-cause yokuthi ube unhappy ukusettlisha for izinto ezimediocre when ungakwazi ukuthi ngokuthi ungafuni immediate gratification yalezi zinto ezifuna iba naleyo ndlu leyo ube nakonke but bosabona ukuthi uyakwazi ukwenza okungcono ungasheshi uinvite umuntu wesifazane ukuthi ezohlala nawe bosafuna ukuba ngcono kunalokho but bese usucontent ngokuthi yazi sengiyi-right ke la ukhona bahlale bekwangikhuluma ngalabo abaningi abala eThekwini hey bakhona endaweni right khona kuba nini lama read dances laba virgins nani bazakhona kusamnandi singabi fooled ngokuthi awekho ama quality women. There's plenty of them. It's just that silokho esikhuluma ngama low hanging fruits silokho esikhuluma silokho people behleli sikhuluma siba na-argument bese siqedile ukukhuluma na-argument with guys ngiyambuza ukuthi yinto special ngalowo muntu uza ne-package ne-trophy bese sesiwaste isikhathi nento enje guys we've just wasted time.
So are you arguing, and I'm not saying you have, I'm asking, are you arguing the fact of if you are a young man who hasn't achieved
basically I'm talking
whatever you call, let me just finish, whatever you call financial freedom, whether it comes with a house,
and direction,
from financial freedom and direction,
health,
whatever it is that Njabul has spoken to you guys about before, Oguti, that can only be achieved if you focus on yourself and marry later.
Yep.
So you're saying about Bill Gates, who are now divorcing, all these really, really successful men only married later. Did they only marry? So if we're looking at that type, if we're being facetious about this, I suppose, if we're being...
That's why divorce, you're about to marry wrong.
No, not necessarily. Sometimes a lot of money can... Yeah, money, a lot of things can happen. But
any dynamic might be for the equality. Humble, regardless of your man. You are not in competition with umuntu.
And she's not in competition with
but the moment...
But I didn't finish what I was going to ask, right? If you look at some of the most successful men in the world, right? And I only know the ones that are advertised on TVs. And I'm sure there are sheiks and whatever in other worlds that are even more successful, but they don't feel the need to be advertised. Those men were actually married quite young.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't wait to make their millions before they got married. They got married in their 20s. They still managed to achieve incredible financial success.
Okay.
So is it possible that it's not just marriage that does that to you? Perhaps it's the type of person you are. Or, to be fair, the men that I'm thinking of had a financial stepping stone, right? It's not like they came from impoverished backgrounds to begin. So I'm willing to play that game because I'm trying to be fair here, right? They had help. About Bill Gates, everybody likes to say, Wuti, Bill Gates started with it just out of his garage. I'm like, at least Bill Gates had a garage to start from. Right? Exactly. Right? So I will acknowledge, Wuti, maybe those people who we now look at on American TV and say they're the most successful. First of all, you have to acknowledge that they married young, but I have to acknowledge that as much as they married young, they had a helping hand.
They married young as Sims.
That's fine, but they still became the alphas. So it's possible.
When they became the alphas, they realized that they don't need the nonsense.
That's fine, but they had the opportunity. But marriage still afforded them that opportunity to become an alpha. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Because what I'm hearing from
it's not the marriage that afforded them the opportunity. Because he had a skill. It's a programmer, it's Bill Gates. Skills of programmer and company na yonke into yenzeka. Right now, Jeff Bezos started a business now. Focus on yes. Umuntu wesifazane was here, but what build up? Angisho ukuthi angithi wena uyakhumbula sina asikhuluma ama-exceptions. Now sesifaka ama-exceptions ukuthi because those people, there's a few of them, but the majority yabantu, sikhuluma i-majority yabantu esidila nabo aba-all over nawe.
Unfortunately, honestly, if I'm being honest, which is what I'm trying to do in this podcast, I haven't done a study. I don't know. I don't know.
Forget study.
I don't know.
If
I'm going to say a majority of something, I need to say...
Forget that bangaki abantu baziyo wena. So let's khulume ngezinto nje. Out of 10 people, mhlambe ke asikhulume nje, out of 10 people ku experience yakho, nami ngizokutshela nge-experience. I'm talking from experience direct experience from dealing with people about dlula kulezo zinto. Now ke asikhulume nje, let's be out of 10 people or nje out of your experience so ubona izinto ke emhlabeni, the filter leyo ubona ngawo umhlaba. How currently is that not an issue? Lento esikhuluma ngayo leyo ukushada ungakayitholi ushada you can't even afford imali yeringi ufune uzwe ikweleta eAmerican Swiss ngothi ushada lento ufune lapho usakhokhela ngisho nama couch ohlala kuona endlini usane bond usaphathwa yilonke lelo khanda and then uyasuka uyoshada uyoletha umunye umuntu who's an expense ne headache la.
How many people are successful? You talking about in our age group?
In our age group, yeah. It's called me age group, yes, from your experience.
As Utami has explained, I don't know many people who've married. That's like,
yeah.
So I can't even say.
Why do you think that's the reason why I want to age group in Asashad? No.
I think there are many factors.
Yeah.
I think.
From your filter.
Yeah, from my filter. That's what I'm saying. I think there are many factors. I think people are getting. First of all, the reason why we're getting married is a bit messy. I don't think people who get married have actual discussions about why are we getting married. What this transaction, because marriage is a transaction. Good. What is the purpose of entering into this transaction? And so what we're finding is. One person or one party has this expectation, another party has this expectation, and there's a clash.
Uncommunicated expectations.
Exactly, right?
Okay.
I also think what you said, which is the idea of having a representative speak for you, and then when you're actually inside the situation, things change. I think the other reason as well, I had it, now I've forgotten. I think our wants just generally don't allow us to be in the types of marriages that we are taught worked for our parents, right? I think most people have more materialistic wants now than they've ever had before, whether it be males or females. I think we are living our lives more in terms of what people think about us rather than who we are and what we want. I would say as a traditional person, and I have to admit that I'm more traditional in my outlook. Right, for me, life is about family, and family is about raising your children. That's what life is about, and raising children who can contribute to society however they want, whether it's for a child to be like me, to want to be a stay-at-home mom, or for a child to want and work and do all sorts of things. Most people aren't about that. Most people are about the flash. They want to be seen to be driving this, to be doing that, and so that type of expectation doesn't allow us to get married at a young age.
Sometimes wants are beyond what they deserve.
Deserve is a very
it's
a very tricky question, because what do you mean deserve?
Deserve.
Right. So I had I had a podcast before, right?
Yes.
And one
of the
two.
I
don't.
Why
would you?
I want you to get. But I need you to get back to that thing. Yes, you have to see.
Can we take a break?
Yes.